بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. طالباتي وطلابي الأعزاء، المستوى الرابع في قسم اللغة الإنجليزية، كلية الآداب بجامعة الأزهر. أهلا وسهلا بكم ومرحبا. طبعا أنا معاكم دكتور مروان في هذا المساق اللي هو دراما 19 and 20th century، أو مسمى آخر دراما 3 يعني. في الحقيقة أنا بلتقي في ظل هذه الظروف الصعبة والحرب، اللي إن شاء الله ربنا يعني يكتب لنا النجاة ويكتب لنا الخلاص من هذا العذاب ومن هذه المعاناة، وربنا يفرج علينا وعليكم جميعا. طبعا بحييكم كلكم، طبعا الطالبات والطلاب معا، وأرجو أنه تكون محاضرات مفيدة في هذا المساق بالنسبة لدراما 3. ويمكن هذه المادة أول مرة تسجل إلكترونيا على العموم، ليس كسابقاتها. وأنا اخترت طبعا مسرحية أدولز هاوس للكاتب النرويجي المشهور اسمه هنريك إبسن. واليوم إن شاء الله يعني بدناش نسميها محاضرة، ممكن يكون لقاء، ممكن يكون تعريف، ومش حثقل عليكم في المحاضرات، ممكن يكون أسبوع أو أسبوعين لقاء، لأنه إحنا يعني فقط يعني الكورس will comprise one play only that is Adolf's House. يعني بمعنى إنه الفصل أو الكورس حيكون عبارة، أو المادة مسرحية واحدة أدولز هاوس، اللي اليوم حنعمل عليها انتودكشن بالنسبة للكاتب، بالنسبة يعني الجنرال اوفر فيو. جنرال اوفر فيو، بعد هيك بنخش في الاسبكتس اللي حتكون مطلوبة منكم تدرسوها طبعا، سواء لدراسة المسرحية أو لغرض الامتحانات النصفي والنهائي. I would like to welcome you. I start now. Drama 3, Henrik Ibsen, Adolf's House. Let me say that Adolf's House is a play. It was written in 1879. In 1879, by the late, 19th century and the beginning of 20th century. The beginning of 20th century. It is a three-act play. What does it mean? Three-act play. Yani, play has three acts. When we compare Ibsen with Shakespeare, so the question is different, because Shakespeare wrote several tragedies, and every play, generally speaking, I mean normally, it has 5 acts, and every act is stripped into sections. stripped طبعا احنا جازا strip ما انتم عارفين. طبعا هنا 3 act play which is set in which was set, sorry, in Norwegian city, Norwegian town. The play is often considered as a critical work of modern realism. This is what I want to say, modern realism. There is also difference between modern realism and the older ones, as we always make a chase of wit. Chase of wit means to compare between past and present. In the past, we used to do so and so, people used to wear so and so, but in the present time, people changed. They started to use technology instead of pen and paper and all that. So this is a chasing wit. It's known as chasing wit. Now the play is often considered to reflect the social aspect of life, and the social, the nature of socialism, the nature of people, how we can consider people when they are stripped into groups according to social qualities, and also individual. So society versus individual. Society versus individual is a title for Henrik Ibsen Adolf's House. Today's lecture or today's meeting, maybe يعني it will be short, but later on I will emphasize the important aspects which will be, of course, included in the exam, whether in the midterm exam or the final exam. My dear students, let me quote from Ibsen, Ibsen quotation, when he said that I have been more of a poet and less of a social philosopher. More than a poet and less of a social philosopher. يعني أكثر من شاعر وأقل من فيلسوف اجتماعي أو نشط اجتماعي أو إنسان اجتماعي. Then most people seem to include to believe. So I must decline the honor of being said to have worked for the women's rights movement. So he puts himself as the champion of women, but it is not so, in fact. So the play is not about, conflict between man and women or the emancipation of women. You see, the woman here, of course, is Noura. Noura is the heroine of the play. Of course, I'm not going to speak about characters today because there will be a specific meeting or a specific lecture about characters, the major characters, the minor characters, and the semi, major characters. I mean, there are different types of characters. In fact, we have usually in a play, any play, of course, whether it is comedy or tragedy. In Shakespeare, of course, you had experience as far as Shakespeare is concerned. We have main characters sometimes, and we have other major characters, and we have minor characters. Three types, in fact. So I will speak about characters later on. Later on. So let me complete the quotation of Henrik Ibsen. He says that to me, it has been a question of human rights. It has been a question of human rights. And today people speak about human rights. But, theoretically speaking, we can hear a lot about human rights. But as a matter of practice, actual practice, in Gaza at least, today and the present situation, what could be done from the human rights, associations and organizations? Of course, nothing for Palestinians in Gaza. So people are killed, people are slaughtered, people are starved, people are, thirsty and die of thirst, and nobody, give anything for them, or at least, our question and our problem is complicated, and there is no ceasefire, no help for Palestinians in Gaza. So to me, it has been a question of human rights. My task has been the portrayal of human beings. So his task in Adol's house, I mean Henrik Ibsen, his task in Adol's house is to portray people as human beings. This is an important point. He says that my task is to portray characters as human beings. What does it mean, human beings? Human being means that we are flesh and blood. We are flesh and blood. So we feel sad sometimes. We love each other. We hate. This is the nature of human beings. And of course, the awareness, self-awareness, and the weakness. These are, in fact, matters of social and human beings. In fact, this what you see. Henrik Ibsen said. This means that he sees characters only as human beings, as well, but he strips them for their names, for their genders. So he classifies them according to their genders, according to their names, according to their ranks, according to their social qualities, and treating them as individuals. And treating them as individuals. Every individual has his own character, has his own stamp, has his own qualities, in fact. Therefore, we see that he has built the character of Noura. Remember, Noura is the protagonist of the play, the protagonist of the drama or the play on his basis. And this idea appeared clearly through her reactions to everything that is going around her until she reached the high of self awareness and her false relationship with her husband. So she found some problems with her husband, some conflicts with her husband. So she found she reached the stage of self-awareness. So Ibsen did not mean to explicitly, to advocate for women or to provide such a conflict between male and female. So his question is not the conflict between man and women, not at all. But the idea is that as soon as he described Noura, the protagonist, the heroine, sorry, of the play, Noura, the wife, as a human, then her true suffering emerged. So when he comes to describe, or when it comes to the idea that as soon as he described Noura as a human, then she emerged with suffering, or true suffering emerged with this nature. With every human being, of course, will suffer. Every human being, yani, will have his own suffering according to yani, the situation that he's put in. You know, I feel that this is an introduction only. So I tell you what I'm going to explain in the yani, of course, Act One, Act Two, Act Three. I'm not going to speak about Act One, though it is there in the PowerPoint. But let me say that Act One in this play. So a lot of things will be said. You see the summary of the play, that the play is presented in three acts, all of which is the place of the period of an upper middle class household. So it speaks about the upper middle class household, الطبقة الاجتماعية العالية والمتوسطة معا. It begins with the entrance of Nora. طبعا Hilmer is her husband, a young happy wife and a mother of three children. So Nora, the protagonist, is a mother of three children and a wife of Mr. Torvald, or yes, Torvald calls her, you see, from his office, a chicken to see if a little squirrel, he calls her little squirrel, بدلعها يعني. And he, of course, come home, then he asks not to be disturbed. So usually he asks her not to be disturbed while he is in his office. He was a banker. Banker means a bank manager. Bank manager. So the question will lie, you see, and the problem, in fact, emerged in this play is the forgery, and this is known as forgery of his signature by his wife, that she borrowed the money from someone, and that someone, whose name is Krogstad, that we speak later on, will blackmail her. So he says that unless you give me a good job, or your husband grants me a good reputation and a good job, a better job, then I will disclose the secret of forgery. I advise you, my students, to have a look at the text, because I cannot read the text, you see, electronic, through online teachings. The text is not too long. In fact, three acts. If you read the text and read the conversation, you see, between different characters, especially Nora and Krogstad, and between Nora and her husband, Torvald, you see, Torvald Hilmer. Let me say that Act 1, Scene 1 is a Christmas Eve, in fact, is a Christmas Eve. The occasion is a Christmas Eve, that Nora returns home from shopping and asks and receives money from Torvald, and endures his unusual acts of control. طبعا Torvald, her husband. So she takes money and she goes for shopping. She likes shopping, in fact. People are in need to see shopping nowadays. Shopping is distorted, seen in Gaza now. As a matter of fact, you see, people are deceiving us, and the traders of Gaza, as you know, I'll have, you see, a lot of things to criticize, a lot of things to say about the situation in Gaza. Now, I will stop up to this point, because inshallah, next meeting, or I'm not going to make lectures 1, 2, 3, 4, but yani 4, 5 settings, inshallah. I will finish the play, and you will also read with me. And if, inshallah, the situation will improve, and we can also travel to each other and see each other, sit together, hopefully, though it is quite far now. Thank you very much uh, for your following me in this lecture, or in this meeting, or in this sitting, and I promise you to proceed in the future as soon as possible. Thank you so much.